Welcome aspirants. Today we are going to study about tribal area development program and this falls within the regional planning topic of geography optionals. So let's start the topic. First, I just want to give you a brief about a tribal subplan. You might have heard about this tribal subplan, and this tribal subplan was introduced in the year 1974-75. The basic objective behind introduction of this plan is to address all those problems which are being faced by the tribal areas and to address the gap of development between tribal and non-tribal areas. And basically, there are few features that are related to tribals. One is subsistence economy, that these tribal population relying on subsistence economy means they are engaged in agriculture so as to grow the crops for their own consumption. They never grow the crops in excess that could be sold out in the market. So this is a subsistence economy. Next is food gathering and hunting. Many of the tribal communities are still relying on food collection, gathering and hunting. Example could be like Jarawas, Sentinels of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And fishing and hunting, these are also some of the features. Let us see some of the centrally sponsored programs. You can see here programs in the state sectors, programs like post-matric scholarship, girls hostel, pre-examination training, tribal development blocks, cooperative societies, research training, improvement of working, living conditions and engage in unhygienic occupations, coaching cum guidance centers, and grants for all India non-official organization. Let us see them as per the area of development. First, we will start with education. You know that tribal population is not as literate as the rest of the population. Literacy rate of tribals are always less than the national average. And overall, I would say that literacy rate is around 52%. Large number of the population of tribes is illiterate. The reasons might be because of the increasing dropout rates due to the lack of schools in their vicinity. Plus, the tribal students are not coming into the mainstream because education or the school classes are not being taught in their native languages. Although government has taken some steps, they have tried to set up Eklavya residential model schools in remote areas. We cannot forget right to education, in which 6 to 14 years of child has to be given compulsory education. So all these are the benefits that can be taken by the tribes, but these benefits are not reaching out to them. Okay, the next point is employment. Most of the tribal population lack skills. They do not have skills, and many of the times they are only engaged in the agriculture. So because of the lack of the skills, they do not get employment, or this could be a reason which is limiting their ability to get employment. Therefore, Government of India has also established One Dhan Kendras. These One Dhan Kendras or Kendras are trying to establish or trying to make the tribes aware about the forest-based livelihoods. And if they have some skill, if they have developed some skill either through the school, colleges or some vocational training centers, these One Dhan Kendras are helping them to locate the jobs. This was about employment. Next is agriculture. The tribal population that is engaged in agriculture, they are carrying out the agriculture by using primitive tools. Most of the times the tools used are primitive. They lack the technology. They do not have access to irrigation. All these things are not yielding a good amount of productivity for them. Although Government of India has tried and government has introduced the MSP for minor forest produce, but still this MSP price is not reaching out to them. Many times the intermediaries are taking advantage of it and depriving them of MSPs. Another point is cooperatives. These tribal population lack cooperatives. The cooperatives are not set up there, and just because the cooperatives are not set up, they could not get engaged into the cooperative or collective farming. So their resources could not be optimally utilized. Collective farming on cooperatives, absence of cooperatives are not paving the way for them to ensure collective farming. But we also have a provision for it, that is TriFed. That is about Tribal Marketing Cooperative Federation. This particular organization is involved in promoting the products for the tribes. Another is communications. Communications, most of the tribal areas do not have infrastructure, they do not have any way or means of communication available. So that is why they are also not getting a proper information. In fact, the primitive or particularly vulnerable tribal groups, the areas where these tribes are living, these are always suffering from some sort of infrastructure, and that is why they are isolated from the rest of the population. They are isolated from rest of the population. However, over a period of time, scheme has been introduced like Dharti Abha Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan. The objective of this particular program is to ensure infrastructure in all the backward areas which are specially suffering from lack of communications, inadequate infrastructure and all. Sixth point is land distribution and land alienation. You know, most of the times tribes have been displaced or they have been alienated from their lands. And although we have Forest Rights Act already in place, Forest Rights Act of 2006, but sometimes this Forest Rights Act is being diluted when it comes to the issues of land distribution and land alienation. And there are multiple cases where due to industrialization and mining they have been deprived of their lands. Another point is industrialization. Lot of industrial units and mining companies who are trying to set up their base in these areas are depriving the locals of their native lands, and they have been displaced also without giving adequate compensation. So such instances have been held in the past, that is already in the public domain, and for this government has also rolled out Pradhan Mantri Van Bandhu Kalyan Yojana. The objective behind its introduction is so as to maintain a balance between industrialization and tribal welfare. Okay, so all these are the areas of development where the tribal population is lagging, although some steps have been taken so as to address their issues, but still a lot of things are inconsistent and benefits are not reaching out to them. Let's see some of the criticisms. Criticism: benefits are not reaching out because most of the population is poor, they are unaware of their rights. Other thing is the weak tribal participation. Most of the times the programs that have been rolled out, their tribes are not being taken care of, they are not even being consulted when these programs have been framed, and that is why the participation is very low. There is always a nexus between the political class and elite masses, political class and elite masses working hand in glove so as to exploit these tribals and take full utilization of their resources. So this is all about the criticism. Let us see some of the programs that have been initiated by Government of India for the tribals. One such is Pradhan Mantri Jan Jati Adivasi Nyay Maha Abhiyan. The aim of this particular program is to help those who are on the verge of extinction, and for this government is providing them housing and health care. And in this initiative government has already provided some mobile health care units, means mobile ambulance jaise health care units have been provided so as to increase their longevity and address any of the health related problems regarding them. Next is Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. Recently a yatra was taken out across the nation, especially in the remote areas, so that they can be made aware of all the schemes that are running on. Like they must be aware of how much agriculture subsidies have been given, what all are the benefits that they can receive. So this yatra was all about to make the people aware about all these agriculture subsidies, education concessions, how they can earn money and all. Next is Pradhan Mantri Particularly Vulnerable Tribal Groups Development Mission. The mission aims to to improve the socio-economic status of vulnerable tribal groups. And here the government was trying to preserve self-sufficiency for them, and this self-sufficiency must be integrated with the modern way of living. So the koshish was, or the attempt was, that they must know, although they can practice the self-sufficiency, they must continue to live as per their culture, but they should also integrate themselves with the modern living. Another is the Ministry of Tribal Affairs program, where they have collaborated or have signed a memorandum of understanding with Microsoft to support the digital transformation of schools such as Eklavya model residential schools. In this particular program, they have collaborated with Microsoft as well as Facebook also. And the attempt was to digitalize the education. There must be a skill-based education, and overall the tribes must get a taste of AI also, that is artificial intelligence. Next is Ministry of Tribal Affairs have reviewed various state initiatives under Sankalp Se Siddhi Mission and by TriFed. Here government is, or what I should say, the TriFed is trying to promote entrepreneurship among the tribes. They are helping them to know about how their products must be marketed, and there must be a proper strategy to so as to brand their products in the national markets as well as the overseas markets. And in this tribal cooperative marketing development federation is helping them so as to bring more entrepreneurs within the tribes. Next is Van Dhan Vikas Yojana. This is a scheme component of MSP for minor forest produce. This program is to empower self-help groups, and self-help groups have been empowered so that they can take advantage of the MSP that has been initiated by government for their minor forest produce like honey, mahua, tamarind, etc. So these are the some minor forest produce which have been obtained by the tribes from the forest, and they can get easily the MSP for MFP. But sometimes what happen is that this MSP is being given to them, but it is very inconsistent and slow in process. Next is tri-food parks. Tri-food parks, like one park has already been constructed in Maharashtra. The aim behind the tri-food parks is so as to process the food that is obtained from the forest, or I can say that the process minor forest produce like organic products, bamboo, honey, all this must be processed within the tri-food parks, means tribal food parks. Such parks are already constructed in one or two places like in Maharashtra, and soon there will be more number of tri-food parks that will be available so as to ensure optimum utilization or have better return over their minor forest produce. So all these are the steps that have been taken by the government and to uplift tribals, especially in education, social and economic domain. Plus, this is also a part of India's strategy for inclusive growth while preserving their own culture and tradition. So this is all about the Tribal Area Development Program. Hope you have got an idea over this. Thank you and have a nice day.